What happens when the soulful rhythms of a New Orleans jazz dynasty collide with the glitz of Hollywood's biggest stages? You get Jon Batiste, a man who has transformed the musical landscape with nothing but a melodica and an infectious smile. From his humble beginnings in Louisiana to becoming a global icon with a net worth of over $5 million and a staggering collection of Academy and Grammy Awards, Jon is the ultimate symbol of artistic excellence. But behind the standing ovations and the late-night television fame, how does this musical genius actually live? What kind of sanctuary does a man who breathes melody call home? Join us as we explore the life of the man who proved that staying human is the ultimate flex. Early life and struggles. To understand the man who would eventually sweep the Grammys, we have to travel back to the vibrant, brass-filled streets of Metairie and Kenner, Louisiana. Jon Batiste wasn't just born into a family, he was born into a musical institution. The Batiste family is a legendary dynasty in New Orleans, a lineage of percussionists, pianists, and bandleaders who have shaped the city's sound for generations. Growing up in such an environment meant that music wasn't a choice for Jon. It was his first language. By the age of 8, he was already behind the drums, playing with the Batiste Brothers Band. However, the path to greatness was rarely paved with ease. Despite the rich cultural heritage, Jon grew up in an era and an environment where the weight of history and the struggle for racial equality were ever present. His family was deeply involved in the civil rights movement, and the stories of his grandfather, a union leader who fought for the basic rights of black postal workers, were the bedtime stories of his youth. This backdrop of activism instilled in him a sense of purpose that transcended mere entertainment. The transition from drums to piano at the age of 11 was a pivotal moment, prompted by his mother's intuition. She recognized a different kind of fire in him, one that required the complex harmonic language of the keys. For 7 years, every Saturday was dedicated to classical piano lessons. While his peers might have been out playing, Jon was immersed in the works of Bach and Beethoven, bridging the gap between European classical traditions and the soulful improvisations of the New Orleans streets. But even a prodigy faces the harsh sting of reality. Moving from the tight-knit, supportive community of New Orleans to the competitive, high-pressure environment of the Juilliard School in New York City was a culture shock of the highest order. Imagine a young man, steeped in the second-line tradition of communal joy, suddenly thrust into an institution where technical perfection often outweighed emotional expression. He often felt like an outsider, a jazz kid in a world of classical purists who didn't always understand his vision. Financial struggles also shadowed his early years in the Big Apple. The cost of living in New York is a beast that has swallowed many aspiring artists whole, and Jon was no exception. There were nights of uncertainty, of wondering if his unique blend of social music would ever find a place in the mainstream. He faced the skepticism of critics who thought he was too happy or too unconventional. Yet it was these very challenges, the lack of funds, the cold New York winters, and the pressure to conform, that forged his resolve. He refused to compromise his soul for a paycheck, a decision that would eventually pay off in ways he couldn't yet imagine. Career journey. The ascent of Jon Batiste is a masterclass in patience, talent, and an unwavering belief in the power of connection. His professional journey truly began to take flight in the mid-2000s when he released his debut album, Times in New Orleans. It was a love letter to his roots, but it also signaled the arrival of a technician with a global perspective. While still at Juilliard, he was already performing at international venues like the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam, proving that his music knew no borders. The world truly began to take notice when he formed his band, Stay Human. They weren't just a group of musicians, they were a movement, their love riots, spontaneous street performances where they would lead crowds through the streets of New York became the stuff of legend. This grassroots energy eventually caught the eye of television executives, leading to one of the most significant milestones in his career. In 2015, Jon Batiste was named the bandleader and musical director for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. For 7 years, he was a nightly fixture in millions of American homes, using his platform to spread joy and showcase the depth of black musical excellence. However, it was the year 2020 that would redefine his legacy forever. When Pixar released Soul, Jon's compositions didn't just provide a soundtrack, they provided the very heartbeat of the film. His work on the movie earned him an Academy Award, a Golden Globe, and a Grammy, making him one of the few artists to achieve such a trifecta in a single year. But he was far from finished. In 2021, Jon released We Are, an album that captured the zeitgeist of a world in turmoil while offering a message of hope and resilience. The industry response was nothing short of historic. He received 11 Grammy nominations, the most of any artist that year, and walked away with 5 awards, including the prestigious Album of the Year. This wasn't just a win for Jon. It was a win for the concept of social music, music that serves the people and reflects the truth of the human experience. By 2024 and 2025, Jon had transitioned from a late-night star to a bona fide global phenomenon. His world music radio project and the subsequent Beethoven Blues album saw him topping the Billboard classical charts for weeks on end. Even his performance at the Super Bowl, which technically only paid a union standard of $1,000, was worth millions in terms of global exposure and cultural impact. As we move through 2026, Jon's career continues to reach new heights. With 3 more Grammy nominations for his latest projects and a schedule filled with sold-out international tours, his earning power has skyrocketed. He has moved beyond the role of a performer into that of a cultural architect, a man whose influence is felt in film, television, and social activism alike. From the streets of New Orleans to the stage of the Oscars, Jon Batiste's journey is a testament to the fact that when you play from the heart, the whole world eventually stops to listen. Real estates. The Italianate Heritage Estate. $5 million. Sitting at the top of his portfolio is his most prized possession, a stunning, historic Italianate-style villa that serves as his primary residence and creative headquarters. Purchased for approximately $5 million, this architectural masterpiece is the epitome of Tunisiana, a design philosophy the couple coined to blend North African aesthetics with Louisiana soul. Inside, the home is a vibrant tapestry of culture and history. The living spaces are defined by high ceilings and original architectural details that have been meticulously preserved. Instead of the cold, minimalist look favored by many celebrities, this estate is filled with warmth. You'll find intricate mosaic tiles that catch the afternoon light, bronze objects that tell stories of distant travels, and jewel-toned light fixtures that cast a magical glow across the rooms. The heart of the home is the expansive open-plan living area, where the boundaries between art and life are blurred. The floors are covered in hand-woven rugs, and the walls are adorned with works from local artists. While many would expect a massive music room, Jon prefers to keep his creative tools integrated into the living space, often found composing on a vintage piano nestled in a sun-drenched corner. The true crown jewel of this property, however, is the outdoor space. Stepping through the massive glass doors, you're greeted by a lush, private oasis. The centerpiece is a magnificent outdoor pool designed with dark, shimmering tiles that make the water look like a natural pond. Surrounded by stone pavers and tropical greenery that reminds Jon of his Louisiana roots, this pool area is where he spends his mornings in quiet reflection before the world starts calling. It is a space of pure serenity, hidden away from the prying eyes of the city. The Garden District Soul Sanctuary, $3,500,000. Moving to his second property, we find a magnificent historic home located in the heart of New Orleans, valued at roughly $3,500,000. For Jon, this isn't just a house, it's a connection to his ancestors. Located in a neighborhood known for its towering oaks and wrought iron fences, this property radiates the soul of the South. The interior of this home is a masterclass in beautifully imperfect design. It features grand hallways and spacious rooms with plaster walls that have been left with their natural patina, giving the space an air of timeless elegance. The furniture is a mix of high-end custom pieces and treasures found at local New Orleans flea markets, creating an atmosphere that is both grand and incredibly welcoming. Large arched windows allow the humid Louisiana breeze to drift through the house, carrying with it the distant sounds of the city's brass bands. The kitchen is a chef's dream designed for hosting large family gatherings where the smell of gumbo and the sound of laughter fill the air. Just like his primary estate, the outdoor area here is a showstopper. The property features a classic New Orleans courtyard, complete with a stunning outdoor pool that is bordered by vibrant hibiscus and jasmine. The pool's design incorporates traditional stonework, and a nearby fountain provides a constant, soothing soundtrack of trickling water. It's the perfect spot for Jon to reconnect with his family and the city that gave him his start. The Hudson Valley Creative Retreat, $2 million. Rounding out his collection is a beautiful creative retreat nestled in the Hudson Valley, valued at approximately $2 million. This home serves as the couple's escape from the frantic energy of New York City, a place where the pace of life slows down and nature takes center stage. The aesthetic here is rustic luxury. The interior features exposed wooden beams and large stone fireplaces that provide a cozy focal point for the main living areas. The decor is more subdued than his other homes, focusing on natural materials like leather, wool, and reclaimed wood. Huge windows offer panoramic views of the surrounding forest, making the house feel like it's floating in the trees. Despite being a retreat, the home still offers top-tier amenities. The living area is spacious and filled with comfortable, oversized sofas, perfect for long evenings of reading or listening to vinyl records. There is a sense of flow between the rooms that encourages movement and creative thought. The outdoor space at this retreat is designed for total immersion in nature. Tucked away in a clearing is a sleek, modern outdoor pool. Unlike the more ornate pools of his other homes, this one is minimalist and functional, with a wooden deck that bleeds into the natural landscape. It offers a refreshing escape during the summer months and a stunning visual element throughout the year. For Jon, this house is where the noise of the industry fades away, allowing him to focus on the next great melody. Car collection. When it comes to his garage, Jon Batiste doesn't care about showing off. He cares about the experience of the drive. His collection of vehicles is a reflection of his multifaceted personality. One part high-tech futurist, one part luxury connoisseur, and one part soulful historian. He views cars as instruments of movement, choosing vehicles that resonate with his lifestyle and his commitment to quality. Rolls-Royce Ghost, $350,000. At the pinnacle of his collection sits a vehicle that mirrors the sheer elegance of a grand piano, the Rolls-Royce Ghost. For a man who spends his life surrounded by the complex arrangements of an orchestra, this car represents the ultimate sanctuary of silence. Jon treats the interior of this masterpiece like a mobile recording studio, a place where the chaos of the outside world is muted by layers of handcrafted excellence. He is often drawn to the way the car glides over the pavement, a sensation he compares to a perfectly executed legato passage in a symphony. It isn't about the speed or the attention it garners on the streets of Manhattan. It's about the craftsmanship. He values the hours of human labor poured into the stitching and the woodwork, seeing a direct parallel between the artisans who built the car and the musicians who spent a lifetime perfecting a single note. This is his preferred vessel for moments of deep reflection, providing a pressurized cabin of peace that allows his next big idea to take shape in total tranquility. Porsche Taycan Turbo S, $200,000. Transitioning from the silent luxury of the aughts past to the electric heartbeat of the future, Jon frequently finds himself behind the wheel of his Porsche Taycan Turbo S. This choice perfectly aligns with his modern, forward-thinking persona and his public commitment to a more sustainable world. For Jon, the electric motor offers a different kind of music, a high-frequency hum that feels like a futuristic crescendo. He enjoys the instant, seamless delivery of power, which he often describes as being similar to the improvisational energy of a live jazz performance, unpredictable, thrilling, and completely in the moment. It is his conscious performance vehicle, a way to navigate the urban landscape with high-velocity style while remaining respectful of the environment. Whether he's heading to a late-night recording session or a high-profile meeting, this car provides the perfect balance of technological sophistication and raw, artistic energy. Jaguar E-Type, $150,000. Finally, Jon's collection wouldn't be complete without a nod to the soulful heritage that defines his music, found in the form of a classic Jaguar E-Type. This is the car he turns to when he wants to reconnect with the roots of design. He views the E-Type not as a machine, but as a piece of rolling sculpture. For a musician who bridges the gap between generations, this vintage icon serves as a reminder that true beauty is timeless. He loves the analog nature of the drive, the way he has to be physically present and in tune with the vibrations of the road. On quiet afternoons in New Orleans or the Hudson Valley, he takes this roadster out to clear his head, letting the wind and the mechanical soundtrack of the engine provide a counterpoint to the melodies in his mind. It is a car that demands soul, much like the music that has made him a global legend. Personal life. Beyond the bright lights of the stage and the meticulously curated homes, the true heart of Jon Batiste's life is his relationship with his wife, Suleika Jawad. Their story is one of the most profound and moving romances in modern Hollywood. They first met as teenagers at music camp, and their bond has only strengthened through decades of shared dreams and immense challenges. The couple married in a private, deeply emotional ceremony in early 2022. The timing of their wedding was particularly poignant, as it took place just a day before Suleika was scheduled to begin a grueling bone marrow transplant following a recurrence of her leukemia. Their marriage wasn't just a union, it was an act of defiance against illness and a commitment to choosing joy even in the darkest of times. Jon has often called Suleika his village, the person who grounds him and gives his work its deepest meaning. Their journey together was beautifully captured in the documentary American Symphony, showing a man who was winning 5 Grammys while simultaneously navigating the life-threatening illness of his soulmate. Despite his image as a purveyor of joy, Jon hasn't been entirely immune to the complexities of the industry. Following his massive Grammy sweep in 2022, he faced a wave of criticism from some corners of the classical music world. Purists argued that his work, specifically Movement 11, was miscategorized as classical and that his win was a slap in the face to traditional composers. Jon handled the controversy with his signature grace. Rather than engaging in a bitter feud, he used the moment to speak about the importance of breaking down genre walls. He argued that categories in music are often used to exclude certain voices, and that his work is an attempt to bridge the divide between high art and the music of the people. His response only served to solidify his reputation as a thoughtful and inclusive leader in the arts. Jon's personal life is also deeply intertwined with his activism. He doesn't just write songs about change, he shows up for it. Whether he's leading marches for the Black Lives Matter movement or releasing songs like Petrichor to urge action on climate change, he uses his public persona as a tool for community empowerment. He is a frequent supporter of the Innocence Project and the NAACP, often using his concerts to raise funds and awareness for social justice issues. In 2026, Jon remains a man of deep faith and cultural pride. His personal life is a reflection of the social music he creates. It's about connection, resilience, and the belief that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. Whether he's at home in Brooklyn with Suleika or back in New Orleans celebrating with the Batiste clan, he carries himself with a sense of gratitude that is as palpable as his music. He has managed to achieve the impossible, becoming one of the most successful artists in the world while remaining, as his band suggests, completely and authentically human. The story of Jon Batiste is a powerful reminder that true wealth isn't just about the numbers in a bank account or the cars in a garage. It's about the depth of your connections and the integrity of your art. From a $5 million villa to a quiet vintage roadster, every part of his lifestyle reflects a man who values soul over status. If you were inspired by Jon's journey from the streets of New Orleans to the top of the charts, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the Celeb Insider for more deep dives into the lives of your favorite icons. What's your favorite Jon Batiste song? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our other videos on the most influential figures in music today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.